Hey guys, what's up? Game Pizza Boy here, host of the Pizza Party. Welcome back into the channel. I hope you're all doing fantastic today. I'm back for another Dead by Daylight video where I discuss some pretty big updates right now. Yesterday on Thursday, March 28th, 2024, we got a little bit of an announcement and some more information on the next developer update, the small Midchapter update 7.7.0 from March of 2024. Ready to go through quite a couple of things right here. I'll be going through everything to let you guys know what to expect, as well as I'll give my thoughts on everything, of course, too. This will include the killer updates and reworks involving both the twins, most importantly, and also the blight, which are some minor ones they did. A nice little rework for the maps, the perk reworks of many of these perks, including ultimate weapon, adrenaline, and decisive strike, and some new features including store improvements, archive improvements, and even the removal of DePipping. Well, let's get right into it. But before we begin, as always, if you found this helpful, hit the like button, comment down below, and tell me your thoughts about this update, and make sure you don't forget to subscribe. I will put the link in the description below for the update if you want to go read it for yourself in the forums. And with that, let's go into it and let's see what they got. So here we're going to start off with is the killer updates. We'll start with the twins. They got quite a lot of stuff to discuss right now. Now, first of all, we'll read the dev note on this part right here where they explain that they have made switching between Charlotte and Victor more responsive and given the killer the ability to recall Victor at any time so they feel better to play. They did 3 changes to this part right here, including the reduction of time for both switching back to Charlotte from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds, the time to unbind Victor from Charlotte from 1 second to 0.75 seconds, and the time to charge Victor's pounds from 1 second to 0.85 seconds. They also added 2 new things, including the ability to recall Victor at any point while he's unbound away from Charlotte, and the ability to change between Victor and Charlotte while near a hooked survivor. But be warned though, the anti-face cam meter will still fill if you're too close. The main focus of what this part right here they're explaining is to help make it easier to hopefully switch between Charlotte and Victor with ease, and you won't have any issues whatsoever, and hopefully get back with Victor, especially when you guys are too far away. The next thing they talk about is, of course, that previously the twins' power heavily encouraged slugging, aka, leaving survivors all in the dying state, since Victor could chain together pounces on multiple injured survivors, but only pounce a single healthy enemy. Furthermore, survivors could often save each other before Charlotte and could make it to them for the hook. We have flipped this around. Victor will now be more effective at injuring multiple survivors and instead assist Charlotte, who moves now faster while Victor is latched on and in picking up the survivor as well the most. This makes it possible for Victor to both injure and down a survivor without being forced to switch back to Charlotte in between. So they got some changes. Some new stuff include the updates of 7 of the add-ons. They don't show exactly which add-ons in this forum page, so I'm pretty sure they'll announce it when we get to the live update, of course. So be ready to see which add-ons are going to be changing. They also made it where now Victor's pounds will no longer latch onto any survivors when they're healthy, and instead just simply damage them. However, though, when Victor ends up latching onto a survivor and typically successfully pounces on them and injures them, they will no longer be able to be kicked either. So if you manage to successfully pounce on the survivor and damage them during the animation where you usually get stunned during that part, you will not be able to get kicked whatsoever. So you should be fine as a whole completely. They also added where now whenever Victor pounces on and latches on the survivor when they're about to be put in the dying state, they will actually latch on them anyway, and any survivor can crush Victor during this to help the dying survivor, and Victor will automatically return to Charlotte after 20 seconds. However, while Victor is attached to a survivor in the dying state or even being held by him in a locker, Charlotte will actually gain a 10% haste status effect permanently until obviously Charlotte ends up hitting a survivor. This is a nice little bonus, of course, to help her get around very much with ease and catch up to where Victor could be to go hook the survivor, or just to chase another survivor if they're in any situation chasing someone right there. Not only that, very much, it does help make it easier so that slugging will not really have her anymore when you're playing as Victor and Charlotte, and switching between them both and trying to use Victor to take advantage of any injured survivors. But instead, we'll just simply take them down, and we'll help mark them down for you very easily and get you a speed boost to catch up with them. Obviously, of course, they did remove Kill Instinct in this part where they said now Victor will no longer reveal any survivors by Kill Instinct when survivors are near Victor, especially while he's latched, of course. But honestly, it's not going to be really much of a big deal, I would say, in my opinion. I think this is not bad. We're now seeing where it's more of, instead of him just simply latching onto someone like usual and then just leaving them there to be incapacitated and everyone just deal with that completely as a whole, they now have to basically just watch out not to get injured, and if they get put in the dying state by Victor, instead, they will just get completely put there, and they will stay there, and no one will be able to heal them until they get rid of Victor off the back of the survivor. And Charlotte now gets a speed boost so that she can catch up, because, you know, obviously whenever you're playing Victor, you never know how far you're going to be away from them between Victor and Charlotte. So this is going to be very nice to help get around the boost very easily. I do like this change very much. I want to see what those add-ons are about, but we'll see what happens for sure. So I'm looking forward to see where that kind of goes for. But this is still very nice to see the changes right there. First, we see the decisions that combine for switching between Charlotte and Victor, and now how Victor plays as a whole. So this is going to be pretty cool to see where that kind of goes for. The last final dev note that mentions for one last thing is the mentioning that they've updated the visual terror radius to actually include Victor's grunts to improve accessibility, and even added a red glow to Victor when he is vulnerable to being crushed to improve visual feedback. So as you can guess right there, they basically explained that now the visual terror radius accessibility setting will now include Victor's grunts now to help make that a little bit easier right there. And Victor will now simply glow red fully when he's vulnerable to being crushed. So he'll have this terror radius and he'll glow like red like usual, much more easier, so you'll know when to be crushed right there. So some nice little visual stuff. Overall, I'm really excited about what they're doing for the twins. I'm actually pretty excited to hopefully see that these updates really do make it much more smoother and easier to play as Charlotte and Victor. I know they've been buggy for quite a while, and everyone's been waiting when they're gonna get rework, when they're gonna get fixed, when are they gonna get like much better so they can be playable much easier. Well, now hopefully this will help that for the gameplay, along with any bugs and glitches that have happened with them before. Hopefully, especially with that like unbind glitch that happened where you get like stuck completely as Victor. I've dealt with that many times. It's very annoying. So hopefully we will see that fixed and taken care of, at least for sure. And with all this stuff, I really think it's going to be a better gameplay now for future. I can't wait to see how it works between the switching between the twins, especially when teleporting Victor and recalling back to Charlotte, and especially that small, nice little haste stats effect, how it's going to work very well. On top of just how the gameplay is going to feel differently now when you're now no longer going to be latching onto people so easily until they're put in the dying state as Victor. So what do you guys think? I can't wait to find out about that. Now for the small minor update for the Blight, it's just a minor one that they actually did something that hopefully might help a little bit right there. They do mention this. It could be frustrating to slide off an object you were trying to bump into and end your rush prematurely. They have improved the collision detection to make the Blight's rush more consistent. This also fixes the issue which allowed the Blight to incorrectly slide along obstacles and lunge around tighter corners than intended. So they help improve collision detection to help reduce cases where the Blight slides off objects. I'm pretty sure you all know this. I've seen it a few times when I played Blight before, and I think a lot of players who've been playing Blight for a long time now know what I'm talking about, where it's very tricky sometimes, where there's some weird moments where the Blight will just slide off a wall completely for some reason instead of just simply bouncing like they should be, and then he just ends up just kind of ruining his power right then. He has to wait for like a charge. That could be kind of annoying. So hopefully with this should fix it. Hopefully so. So can't wait to test that one out. Now moving on to the medium low update for Haddonfield. Haddonfield is yet again getting another rework. I'm hoping at least they will do some more map reworks in the future. I really want to see some more changes for some of the map. So the changes they include, first of all, is they're updating the map layout and reducing the overall size of Haddonfield, as well as reducing the length of the hedges and fences to reduce the problem and create more openings more easily to get around for. They explained the map's long, narrow shape and rows of unbroken fences and or hedges made getting around very time consuming. They have reduced the overall size and added more openings to make it easier to traverse. So a nice little way to kind of help make it a little bit easier to kind of get around more easily, so you don't have to like take so long to get from one location of Haddonfield to the other, and at least not to deal with all the constant hedges and fences that are around, especially when you're dealing with chases, of course. This also plays in mind because they also adjusted the various houses to reduce the strength of strong loops as well. They also reduced the number of houses in the map, apparently, so they're not going to be the same amount of houses we had. They're going to probably reduce a bit more, but all remaining houses can be entered, of course, most definitely, as they explained that many houses were closed up and making the map too large without any room for gameplay. They have reduced the number of houses that spawn, though each one that remains will now be open and playable. So they will not just be closed off like some of them are, and that's it. They will actually be open up as well. They also explained that though that they reduced the strength of some of the strongest window loops to be fair and more interesting to play. So they overall made it easier for looping. They help reduce the number of houses in the map that some of them are closed off, and make sure every house is now just enterable, so you can now get inside. Finally, they mentioned last thing right here, two more changes as well as one addition. They explained that they adjust the pallet loops in the park tiles. So the parking lot now Some of the pallets there right by the cars have now been adjusted quite a bit there, so it's at least a little more better now in some places. They also update the street tiles that feature more pallet loops, at least a little bit more, since obviously that being such a big, more open area compared to the other like houses in the garden-like area structures that will be in there. And the last thing they decided to also include is they added pallets and lockers along the edge of the map. So now on the edges on both sides, where they're at the end of the street, we'll now have some lease areas where you can have a locker to use for, like, if you want to get your flashbang or hide, or have some more pallets to kind of get around and loop around too as well. The devs explained that the outdoor areas were fairly empty before, and encouraging survivors to make a run for the nearest house when they were chased. Since we've reduced the strength of houses, we have added some additional loops to the street edges of the map to spread out chases and reduce dead zones. This is nice. I do like this, because that technique every time to go from one house to the other across was always kind of, tedious in my opinion, and it usually does lead you to quite dead zones sometimes. And hopefully with this will make it easier. Not to mention, again, this whole area, the most big area mostly is the big street, the parking lot like area. The whole street like area is like a big opening area with possibilities to get around chases. So why not go ahead and expand that more to make it more better? So obviously the addition of more updated pallets and lockers in the edge of the map, and as well as more to explore around the pallet like of the parking tiles, will help make it easier to just get around and without needing to just run from one house to the other. So I think this is going to be a nice little change for Haddonfield. I still hope they do decide to change or do any more updates and reworks to some of the other maps, because we all know some of the maps we want to see in the future. I know you all think about it, so hopefully we will eventually get around to that very sooner or later. So what do you guys think about Haddonfield getting never changed up like this? Let me know, and hope for the best. We'll see like another map get added to this. So only one way to find out. Now moving on, we're going to talk about is now the perks. So obviously there are 3 perks that are getting a rework in this: Decisive Strike, Adrenaline, and Ultimate Weapon. And my god, they got a lot of changes here for sure. DS, which DS got quite a buff a little bit, that brought him back to pretty much a very good use again. So here I want to read this right now. They have now added a new stabbing animation with DS when used successfully, just to add a little bit of flair. And the change that they did is now it's just the increased stun duration from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. So it is back up pretty much where it once was before with 5 seconds. So it got a nice good buff right there. The devs explained that the survivor that is locked in place for part of the stun while they are being dropped by the killer, so it didn't leave them with much time to run away once they hit the ground. They have increased the duration of the stun to give the survivor a fair chance to create some distance. And while they're at it, they also added the new animation, of course, which adds a little bit visual flair to the perk right there. Adrenaline, what the changes do, they reduce the speed boost duration from 5 seconds to 3, so you have 3 seconds of the speed boost. Adrenaline no longer causes you to wake up when facing a nightmare, so usually what it does, when it usually wakes you up like you usually do whenever it triggers, but this time it won't. But the big one that does the nerf the most is that Adrenaline will actually no longer activate if you end up hooked when the gates are powered. Yep. So that means you will no longer have the ability to use Adrenaline if you get hooked at the end game. So you better hope someone gets that generator done. Otherwise, you're not going to get a chance to use Adrenaline if you get hooked. The devs explained that Adrenaline had a lot of exceptions, which made it difficult to play around. If a survivor was hooked while the gates are powered, they would be healthy and receive a substantial speed boost upon being unhooked, making it very difficult for the killer to catch them before they could escape. They have made it so that Adrenaline no longer pauses as when you're on the hook. So now if you get hooked, you won't get the benefits. They also removed the wake up effect when facing the nightmare to clean up the perk, as we moved away from perks that affect specific killer powers over the years. Now the final perk to mention is one of the killer perks, Ultimate Weapon. This is one of the Xenomorph's perks. The devs mentioned that the Ultimate Weapon was a jack of all trades, providing both information and a consistent way to interrupt survivor actions, allowing it to synergize too well with other perks. Rather than just simply screaming, survivors will just instead have their aura revealed, which means this will no longer interrupt survivors' interactions, so survivors won't know that they are being revealed to the killer. Ultimate Weapon is easy to activate. It was possible to keep its effect active throughout the entirety of the match. We have increased the cooldown and increased its activation window to ensure some downtime between uses. So what they did is now, instead of it basically making survivors scream, they just reveal survivors. Kind of basically like Darkness revealed. They also reduced the time of it from lasting 30 seconds to 15 seconds. So you only have 50 seconds of seeing the auras, of course, and there's certain like range right there, and of course, when you interact with the locker. And it now has a very gigantic cooldown. So at the maximum of the tier, it will take about 60 seconds, a minute, to get out of its cooldown and to be in use again. So They definitely heavily nerfed this perk quite. I've seen a lot of people been using this lately. It's been quite a perk right there. So this one definitely is going to be, has been getting nerfed pretty much right there. I honestly am kind of expected this to happen because this perk was quite used a lot and it was quite useful in some situations. I even used it myself a few times in a few games, and they really helped me out see where the survivors are, as well as just kind of interrupting the main goal of survivors, just, you know, working on their interactions, healing, gen working, all that stuff. So we'll see how that kind of plays out, since it's just like Darkness Revealed now, basically, except a little more nerfed down completely. Like, it still has like quite a lot of time compared to Darkness Revealed with the activation time for, I guess, aura reading, but it does have a long, lengthy cooldown, so we'll see how that kind of plays out. Now for the final miscellaneous related stuff. This includes the archives, the store changes, including also the removal of DePipping. So first, I just want to get out of the way that I'm just excited most is the removal of losing a pip. The devs explained that with emblems being used solely for monthly rewards these days, it felt needlessly punishing to lose a pip after a rough match. This quality life change will make the emblem system less stressful. This also applies to modifiers, so you can enjoy these limited time modes without worrying about your grade. Losing yourself a pip was kind of tedious to deal with, so now the ability to not lose a pip, I'm actually kind of relieved by that. I now feel comfortable now that at least if I lose, I won't lose a pip. I at least just won't earn nothing. I won't learn anything, but it's better to me than losing a pip right there, honestly. I would rather not earn anything for failing rather than lose something completely. So this is very nice. I find this a really good change. Hopefully this will make it better for the grind easily, so that people can still try to make it to iridescent, at least for the grinding, but they won't feel left out if they end up losing. They at least can still catch up. They just won't earn better if they keep losing. They'll just not earn anything, but at least, again, they will not lose a pip, so that's very nice. There are also some store changes, and they are literally overhauling the entirety look of the store, as well as making things easier. The devs explained that the store hasn't changed much since its introduction in 2018. The update now makes it easy to find what you're looking for and allows bundle content to be shown a little more better, at a reduced price, especially too. For example, it's now possible to purchase an entire DLC pack through the in-game store rather than purchasing each character separately now. They explained that the changes involve the visual overhaul of the entire store, which I gotta say, the visual looks really nice. They also added a specials tab now to highlight items that are on sale. They added a collections tab to find cosmetics from a specific collection. They added bundles, which contain multiple items at a discounted price. They also added killer more animations now where you can be viewed in store, which is pretty nice. So hopefully this will mean that we might get soon in the future get new Moris we can put on some killers that get available, or maybe we could just view what Moris have on our first time, at least before getting into a game. And added a weekly gift that could be claimed for free. So this is quite a big deal they're doing right now, that they're pursuing. So they are making it easier to making the store look much beautiful than ever now, much better. They're adding more better tabs to help find certain highlighted items, as well as get through collections if you need to go find somebody you specifically need. Adding now bundles that contain multiple items at a discounted price if you want to grab a couple of stuff at once. Adding a store for the Mori animation, so I guess you can go to see what they have for killers, as well probably in the future buying more, because I know there's some exclusive ones that are like on DBD mobile, of course, and you can get a free weekly gift, of course, which that is quite a big deal right there. So I look forward to see that happen right there, and hopefully that'll make it easier for everyone to just get around out of the grind and just go see what they want to buy and stuff like that. So that's pretty good, especially the discounted price for the bundles, so that if there's certain skins you want and you're like, oh, that's a cool bundle and I can afford that, boom. Or at least you can now go find what you need through the tabs right there, like the collections tab or the specials tab, you know. That's pretty cool. The last final thing to mention is the archives, which they got a little minor update. They decided to change where the new tomes and their respective rifts will now open at the same time as the update. They also made it now a new thing in this, where there's a new rift bundle, which will grant you the premium rift rewards anyway, and a 20 tier head start at the discounted price. So this is a nice little way if you want to get any cosmetics, so you just get immediately 20 tiers already, and you get access to the premium rift anyway. So that's a pretty nice good deal right there too as well. The rifts have historically opened the day after our mid-chapter updates, but no more. You can now get cracking on those challenges right away. We have also introduced a new rift bundle, which includes the premium rift pass and 20 tiers at a discounted price. The premium rift pass can still be purchased separately if you prefer. So they definitely did good right here with the store and all that stuff, especially with the archives. So hopefully that will make it a little more cleaner and better to get around to, and especially with the grind, if you want to pay a little money right there. And the store overall looking pretty clean, but especially I like the most just the removal of losing a pip. I'm grateful that they actually got rid of that. I really didn't want to deal with that that grind. It gets very tedious sometimes, so hopefully this will make it better. But yeah, guys, overall, this update is pretty exciting, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, what your thoughts about this update. To me, definitely so far, the highlights are definitely the twins rework, which I'm excited to have to see that happen. I want to play the twins again some point. And as well, especially some of the changes to the perks, especially. But the most importantly, I like is some of the miscellaneous. The miscellaneous look really clean, especially with the no more losing a pip anymore. And the store looks pretty clean. So that's going to help benefit a lot to just get around where you want to shop right there. And at least when you also grind, you at least won't lose any chances of getting up to the rank. So hopefully this will benefit every single one of us. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you found this very helpful very much. I had a great time reading through this, and I look forward to definitely see these changes in the future when they get into the updates sooner or later, and we'll be ready to expect what to see in the future afterwards. So let me know what you guys think about these updates right now. Hopefully you guys are excited as I am. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Keep on partying, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care, my friends.